inevitable.
On a dying planet called Titan, a young boy watched his mother tear strips of flesh from his baby sister's arm, not out of cruelty, out of hunger. This wasn't some horror movie or comic book fantasy. This was Thanos' childhood, and it's the truth the MCU desperately tried to hide from you.
You should have gone for the head.
What if everything you believe about the Mad Titan is backwards? What if the purple-skinned monster you cheered against for over a decade was actually the only hero trying to save the universe from a fate so horrifying that even death would seem like mercy? By the end of this video, you understand why Thanos wasn't the villain of the Marvel universe. He was his only protector, and the Avengers, they doomed trillions to experience exactly what the boy witnessed on Titan. The evidence has been there all along, hidden in deleted scenes, buried in comic references, and scattered throughout the films themselves.
I want to see everything.
Marvel sold you the perfect story. A megalomaniac with a god complex collects magical stones to eliminate half of all life because he's obsessed with death. The brave Avengers unite to stop this cosmic threat, sacrificing everything to protect the universe. But here's what they deliberately left out of the theatrical releases. In the original script for Infinity War, Thanos wasn't motivated by some abstract philosophy about balance. He was driven by memories so traumatic that the Russo brothers deemed them too disturbing for audiences. The evidence from Marvel's own production notes reveals something chilling. Thanos had witnessed the same pattern repeated on hundreds of worlds. Not war, not conquest, something far worse. The complete breakdown of civilization when resources finally run out. And he didn't learn this from books or theories, he lived through it. Let me paint you the picture Marvel was too afraid to show.
Where's my mother?
Young Thanos on Titan, a planet once more advanced than Earth. Gleaming cities, breakthrough technology, a civilization at its peak. Then came the tipping point. Not a sudden apocalypse, but a slow descent that turned philosophers into cannibals and parents into predators. The genius of this narrative structure shows us that everything Thanos became was forged, and watching his advanced society tear itself apart from within. The Mad Titan earned his name not through his actions, but through what he survived. Here's what the film suddenly revealed through background details and throwaway lines. Titan's collapse followed a predictable pattern that Thanos later recognized everywhere. First, resource scarcity, then social breakdown, then the complete abandonment of morality as survival instincts override everything else. The evidence from Infinity War's production design shows us glimpses of this horror. Those tilted structures on Titan, not destroyed by war, they're monuments to a civilization that literally consumed itself. The orange sky, that's not artistic choice. It's the atmospheric remnants of a planet that burned through everything, including its own biosphere. And Thanos didn't just witness this once. The films reference his crusade across the universe, but what they don't emphasize is what he found. Planet after planet following the exact same trajectory. Advanced civilizations with space travel, art, culture, all reduced to primal horror in their final generations. The uncomfortable truth the Avengers don't want to confront: his method worked. But let's examine the Avengers' response to this cosmic truth. When Thanos explained his mission, did they ask for evidence? Did they investigate his claims about universal collapse? Did they even consider that a being who traveled the cosmos for centuries might have seen something they hadn't? No, they immediately moved to stop him because the solution threatened their personal comfort. The evidence is right there in the films. Not one Avenger ever asked Thanos to prove his claims. They don't want to know if he's right. They can't handle the possibility that their heroism might be dooming the universe to something worse than death. Think about Doctor Strange's pivotal moment in Infinity War. He looks forward through 14,605 possible futures. The film tells us he only saw one where they win. But what did he see in the other timeline? What horrors did the Sorcerer Supreme witness that made him willingly hand over the Time Stone to Thanos? The subtle brilliance of the MCU storytelling is all in what they don't show you. Strange saw something in those futures that changed him. Watch his face when he gives up the stone. That's not defeat. That's the expression of someone who's seen the alternative and knows Thanos is the lesser evil. Consider the 5 years after the snap. The film wants you to focus on the Avengers' grief, but look at the world around them. Nature is healing, the waters are cleaner, wildlife is returning. Human society, despite the drama, is functioning better than before. There's no war over resources, no societal collapse. The remaining population has abundance. Steve Rogers runs a support group for people who can't accept that their loved ones are gone. But what he's really doing is preventing them from seeing the truth. Their loved ones were spared from something worse. Every person who dissolved peacefully in the snap was saved from potentially watching their children starve, their society crumble, their humanity disappear in the face of desperate survival. The most damning evidence comes from the Soul Stone itself. This cosmic artifact that requires you to sacrifice what you love most. Why would such a test exist? The comics reveal that the stone doesn't just judge worthiness, it reveals truth to those who wield it. When Thanos sacrificed Gamora, he didn't just lose his daughter. The Soul Stone showed him every possible future where he failed, every timeline where Gamora died anyway, but slowly, horribly, after watching her world tear itself apart just like Titan. His tears weren't just for losing her, they were for knowing what he was saving her from. Meanwhile, the Avengers spend 5 years refusing to accept a new balance. They can't see past their personal loss to recognize the cosmic mercy that's been granted. Banner even admits that he tried to bring everyone back to the moment of the snap, condemning them to return to a universe already heading towards the same resource collapse. Let's talk about the math that Thanos understood and the Avengers ignored. Every advanced civilization follows the same exponential growth curve until it hits planetary limits. The evidence from Marvel's own world building shows us this pattern repeatedly. Xander, the Kree Empire, countless other worlds, all expanding until collapse becomes inevitable. Thanos calculated the exact point where intervention could prevent the war. Not too early, when populations could still rebound. Not too late, when society had already begun to fragment. The exact mathematical moment where half could save the world. But the Avengers didn't want to hear about mathematics. They didn't want to confront the reality of finite resources in an infinite growth system. Tony Stark, the futurist who could predict and prevent so many threats, somehow couldn't see the one staring him in the face. The same collapse that took Titan was coming for Earth. The evidence was everywhere. The Battle of New York showed Earth couldn't handle even a small alien invasion without near catastrophe. The Sokovia Accords proved humanity was already fracturing under pressure. Yet, when someone offered a solution to prevent Earth from becoming another Titan, the Avengers called him mad. Here's the tragic truth the MCU buried beneath hero worship and special effects. Thanos was the only being in the universe with both the knowledge and the will to prevent incomprehensible suffering. He didn't seek the Infinity Stones for power, he sought them for mercy. Every action Thanos took was designed to minimize suffering while maximizing survival chances. The random selection ensured no bias, no discrimination. The instantaneous dissolution meant no pain, no fear, just peaceful cessation. Compare that to the alternative, the slow starvation, the gradual descent into barbarism, the complete loss of everything that makes life worth living. The films themselves prove Thanos right through what they don't show. In Endgame, when the Avengers travel through time, do they find evidence that contradicts Thanos? Do they discover thriving civilizations that solve the resource problem? No, they find only confirmation that the pattern continues everywhere, every win. And when they finally defeat him, what do the Avengers create? They don't solve the resource problem. They don't prevent the coming collapse. They simply restore everyone to a universe 5 years closer to the same catastrophe Thanos tried to prevent. They kick the can down the road, calling victory. The most damning evidence comes from the unexpected source. The What If series shows us universes where Thanos succeeded permanently, and in those realities, the surviving civilizations flourish. They develop sustainable technologies. They explore the stars without the pressure of overpopulation. They achieve what Titan never could, true balance. But in the main timeline, where the Avengers won, Earth's population returns to unsustainable levels overnight. The resources resources consumed during 5 years of reduced population are gone forever. The planet is actually worse off than before, with less time before the inevitable collapse. The genius of Thanos' plan wasn't just in the numbers, it was in the psychology. Survivors of the snap would remember what nearly was. They'd build monuments to the fallen and create cultures focused on sustainability. The tragedy would teach what prosperity never could, the importance of balance. But the Avengers stole even that lesson. By undoing the snap, they erased the only event that might have taught the universe to avoid Titan's fate. They turned a meaningless sacrifice into meaningless suffering and called themselves heroes for it. So, who are the real villains in this story? The being who sacrificed everything, including his own soul, to save life from a fate worse than death? Or the ones who condemned infinite beings to experience exactly what young Thanos witnessed on Titan? The Avengers acted from emotion, not logic. They chose 5 more years with loved ones over sparing those same loved ones for eventual horror. They chose their own moral satisfaction over cosmic necessity. Thanos made the hardest choice in the history of existence. He became the villain so that life could survive. He accepted eternal hatred to spare others from temporary but unbearable suffering. He did what no hero could. He put the needs of the universe above his own soul. Once you see the pattern Thanos saw, you can't unsee it. The evidence was always there, woven throughout the MCU, hidden in plain sight. A Titan who watched his world die, trying to save others from the same fate. Heroes who doomed the universe because they couldn't see past their own pain. The Mad Titan was never mad. He was the only one sane enough to do what needed to be done. The Avengers weren't Earth's mightiest heroes, they were its most catastrophic failures. Too proud to admit that someone else might have seen a truth they couldn't face. Maybe, just maybe, it's time we stopped celebrating the Avengers' victory and started mourning what it cost. Because somewhere in the universe, on a planet running out of resources, another child is about to experience exactly what Thanos did on Titan. And this time, there's no one left to prevent it. The evidence has always been there. The truth has always been waiting. Thanos was right. If this changed how you see the MCU's greatest villain, share this video with someone who still thinks the Avengers were heroes. Comment below, what evidence did you notice that proves Thanos was trying to save us? And subscribe to Villain Vibes for more uncomfortable truths hiding in plain sight. The truth changes everything.